Hey everybody, today we're going to learn about finding the midpoint of a line segment and finding the endpoint when you're given a midpoint and another endpoint. So, pretty simple stuff. We just, something you got to see. So basically the midpoint is the same thing as finding the middle of the line segment. So here's an example here of a line segment. And graphically you could really just count half of your rise. So if you were doing a slope and doing rise over run, you could go up half of your rise and go over and you would find it. So for instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the rise. So if you go up 1, 2, 3 and over, that puts you right here. And see, visually you can tell that that is the center or the middle of that line segment. All right. So algebraically, you could just say, it's half the rise and half the run. That's how you get to the middle of the segment. Okay, now how do we work it out with our structure? Well, here's this listed like this. We've got 6, 8, one of the points, and negative 4, 2. Here's the BBBS for that. It is an ordered pair. As you can see there, it's going to be an ordered pair. So we have a parenthesis, a comma, and we have two sections. Remember, the first part of an ordered pair is the x's, and the second part is the y's. Notice they're divided by 2. So that's kind of like finding the middle. When we average two things, we divide by 2. So the x's go here. You may want to mark that. X's go there. The y's go there. Okay, so my x's are negative 4 and 6. So we're going to pop those in there. And then my y's are 8 and 2. Okay, and I add the top and I get 2. Add the top here and I get 10. And then all we have to do is simplify. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. And notice, over 1 and up 5. Okay, so all you have to remember, though, is the big bad Batchick structure. And what you want to do is just like everything else, don't put your numbers in there first. Just go ahead and set your structure up like this with plus signs. Division bar divided by 2 with plus signs. You want to do that, and then you go find your x's, put them here, find your y coordinates, and put them here. Okay. Now, there's another situation they can give you where they give you the midpoint, and they give you one of the endpoints, and they want you to find the other endpoint. And I call this the EME method, endpoint, midpoint, endpoint, and you set it up just like this. And basically all you're doing is looking for the pattern. So to get from 7 to 10, you add 3. So to get to the other endpoint, we're going to add 3 again. Okay? To get from negative 3 to 1, we add 4. So we're just going to add 4 again. So 1 plus 4 is 5. And if you want to put the plus 3 here, left that off. Okay? So here's your structure when you're looking for an endpoint. You have to be very careful the way you're reading the problems and make sure, are they leaving the midpoint out and they want you to find that, or did they give you the midpoint and you have to find the endpoint? Okay? So let's take a look at these two. Just take a minute and see if you can figure out which one of these wants you to find the midpoint and which one of these wants you to find an endpoint. Okay, so notice this says M is the midpoint, and then if you see here, the last thing it asks you to do is find the coordinates of M. So this is a problem where you're looking for the midpoint. So you're going to come up here with your big bad Batchick structure. All right, and our x's are 0 and 8. And our y's are negative 4 and negative 5. Okay, so you can do this probably in your head. 0 plus 8 is 8, divided by 2 is going to be 4. And then up here we're going to have negative 9 divided by 2. And this is your answer. That will not reduce. And an equivalent form would be writing it as a decimal. Negative 9 divided by 2 is negative 4.5 here for the y coordinate. Okay. Okay. And now if we take a look at this one, notice it says M is the midpoint. And notice they give you the midpoint here. It says M is the midpoint, and they give you the midpoint. And they give you one of the endpoints, and notice they're asking you now for the other endpoint. So what we're going to set up here is E, M, E, and you're just going to set up parentheses for the order of pairs. Midpoint, you have to make sure this goes in the middle. The endpoint, it really doesn't matter where it goes, but I like it at the top just because I like to read down. So now we're looking for the pattern again. To get from 2 to negative 1, we subtract 3. So we're going to do that again. Negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. Okay, over with the x-coordinates, to get from negative 5 to 0, we're going to add 5. So we're just going to do that again. We're going to add 5 again. 0 plus 5 is 5. So the endpoint that was missing is 5, negative 4.